let's do some demos. Now this is a guy called Frank Stellark, who was a performance artist in the 1990s, and this is what Augmented looked like back then. But obviously we've all got phones, we've all got laptops, so we can think about Augmented in a different way now. So the three demos I'm going to show you. One is Textio, another one is a tool called Knack, and then the third one is People First Chatbot from MHR.
Textio is a pioneering artificial intelligence system that contains a predictive engine that will change the way you write forever. Let me show you how it works. Our first product, Textio Talent, is really made for hiring managers and recruiters. Companies that have been using Textio for recruiting already have found that they get a more diverse group of applicants. Anyone can use Textio instantly. Just sign into the website and start typing. Or you can open a saved document from your Textio library. Next to your document, you'll see your Textio score. It shows how successful your job listing will be compared to others in the same industry and location. Purple and blue phrases statistically attract more women or men to apply for your job. The tone info next to your document helps you track the overall tone of your writing. And Textio includes alternate suggestions for many of these words that will help you meet your diversity goals. Textio's predictive engine is based on outcomes data from over 250 million documents. And growing. Textio learns from these job listings and, as you type, predicts how well the job listing you are writing will compete for talent. We use an amazing combination of machine learning, natural language processing, and learning loops so that our engine knows exactly what language works and what doesn't. So this is it. This is how Textio's predictive engine is changing recruiting, giving those who use it a huge advantage in competing for talent in their industries.
What I like about Textio is that it allows us to see our bias. The job descriptions go in, and you are seeing whether you're writing too masculine or too feminine. So it helps us to learn, to kind of self-learn about it. Rather than just being taken somewhere else, we never reflect on what we've said. Another otherworldly AI deals with it. And this is a kind of thread that we'll go through our own products too. The next product I want to show you is called Knack. Knack is what I would call a post-CV recruitment tool. We all know that CVs are pretty useless in terms of what actually do they give us about a candidate. Knack's really interesting because it turns what you should be able to do for this particular job into a game, and then cross-references whether you're actually any good at it or not. Really useful for uncovering talent, hidden talent, rather than people who talk a good game. So quick demo of how it works. So here we've got three what they would call knacks. So in order to do this particular demo job, I need to be logical. So the finance thing, I need to get things done, and I need to thrive on feedback. I'll show you the game in a second, but ultimately how it comes through is much like a normal recruitment. I get a list of applicants, but rather than having to trawl through their CVs, it shows me how good they are at the games. So if we go and have a look at the games, it's basically three games here. One of them is about emotional intelligence, one of them's loosely about logic, and the other one's about throwing balloons. I'm not quite sure what we get out of that one. But I'm going to play the logic one, just a quick example. What's interesting is Knack is it's not just doing the game, it's how long you size up, what to do, whether you go in quickly. It's testing all sorts of things about you as a person along the way. Some of them are impossible. If you're very good at it, it'll give you an impossible game and see how long you try at it. How quickly do I quit out? So although these three quite simple games, that what gets pulled together is a lot of stuff about you that you expose in gaming that you wouldn't do in a normal interaction. This is cross-referenced with the validation studies. So they do validation of people who are actually doing these jobs and the personalities that they've got, and make sure that those two things fit together. So in terms of how the training happens, there's a lot of people going through, but what they do is then take people who can do the jobs and then cross-reference the gaming data with them. The last thing I want to show you is the People First Chatbot from MHR. I launch it. Now here I can just do some small talk, so I can say if you're okay, and it replies. I can also clock in and clock out. That was a short shift. I can book holidays and book a holiday for next Friday. I can take pictures of my expenses. I haven't got a bill with me now, but I'm just going to take a picture. And the chatbot behind the scenes works out what it is that I'm looking at, and that's what we use for expenses and bills and stuff. But what I wanted to show today is how it can augment our learning, our self-learning. So what happens is at the end of every day in the research chatbot, it sends out a list of questions. So I'm going to get it to send it out. And this is called a daily reconstruction method. So what we really need is a way of reflecting back on the day that is quick as possible. So you can do it in 10 seconds, but the next time I reflect in a check-in, it's got enough in it so that I can remember. So I add to diary, and then it gives me a list of 15 things about the day. So I can say, how do I feel about today's work? I choose some options, and then I can put in any kind of text. Now this is all private data. So when I go back into my diary, I can see that hasn't gone anywhere. That's just for me. So again, we're covering the private data so it's on the device, it hasn't been sent anywhere. But when it comes to my check-in then, we use the model that, so an AI model that has been put on the phone, takes that private data and puts it into numbers effectively. So nobody gets to know what I've said, but we get a kind of general idea as to how's going on. So I'm just going to send it now. Press my check-in. It's asking me what I would like to talk about. So I put in a talking point for my check-in. And then here's where the onboard model is taking all that private data and turning it into a data point about flow. So I can then send that data. So again, we've got that kind of augmented HR where it is helping us to self-reflect, but then not creating a feedback loop. So obviously I wouldn't send my private data to the employer because it might have been a bad day. And if it did send it in a raw way, there would be a feedback loop where I would stop behaving in that way. I'd stop being honest. So so the fact that it's private and the fact that the model itself is on the phone is a better way of doing it. It means more people are going to use it, but actually the usefulness of it is still real for the employer.